The playoffs are afoot, and that means we have one last crack here on stream to get in some good playoff best ball drafts. So today, we're going to hop into the world of Underdog. I am already in a mitten draft, which we will move over to in a moment. And we're also going to do DraftKings. We're also going to hop into the toxic, the radioactive world that is drafting a playoff best ball team on DraftKings. I'm going to will through it because I know this is fundamentally an entertainment show, and you guys will get joy out of it. I will get misery. That's how it's going to go. DK drafts with Spags. That'll be epic. Says our boy Charles here. And then Nickel says, let's draft the winner today. Let's draft a competent team is what I'm going to be hoping for myself. And of course, for all of you guys. Of course, we'll talk about the teams involved. We'll talk about the odds. We'll talk about the league table on Sumer Sports. It's so important to know, though really at this point, I guess it doesn't really matter besides maybe knowing who's going to a conference title game or a Super Bowl game. But we will have some fun today here. That is the promise. And of course, if for some reason you're not signed up on Underdog and you're like, playoff best ball, what is this? Use that promo code SPLASH on Underdog to double your deposit up to $100. Of course, you also get a mystery pick'em slip with that if you are playing on Underdog, and it is a great site to play on. And frankly, I'm surprised that more people play on Prize Picks than Underdog these days. When I would definitely prefer Underdog's UI. But here we go. CeeDee Lamb, we got it going here. We're going to build some Dallas stuff out. CeeDee Lamb going in the 101 a lot lately. Of course, Lamar we've seen going the 101 to get him out, but I'm going to go CeeDee Lamb. We're going to build some fun Dallas stuff and hope that we can capture the Cowboys doing something useful for sure. Also pulling up the playoff seeding once again, just so I have this in front of me. Because obviously we want to make sure that we are aligning with the guys who are going to move. If they are going into what round, who are they going to play in the second round? Have to think through that a little bit more now that we actually know where the seeds are. It's one of the advantages you have right now if you are drafting, even if you are drafting. Well, I guess the gauntlet's closed. We have another gauntlet now. But even if you're drafting, anywhere, you do sort of want to use that as your advantage because just knowing now that these teams are fully locked in. And frankly, I think some people miss the bye week stuff. I actually saw some guy going viral on Twitter for being incorrect about how the seeds work. Thought the winner of the Bucks Eagles game was guaranteed to be facing the Niners. And it's like, no, if the Packers won, they would go to the Niners. So something to keep in mind here, how the seeding works. Of course, the one seed gets the lowest seed advancing, and then the other two teams play. Let's see here. We got some GMs. Tyler's here. Justin's here. DK is tilting. Got sniped on Tua in late rounds by someone with no Miami players. Yeah, man. Look, that's what I saw firsthand. I've not drafted another DraftKings team off stream, even though I do want to max out the 20 max. I really don't want to do more DK drafts. We're going to do them, but I don't want to. That much is for sure. What can we build out here? We could take another NFC team and then try to do some AFC stuff late. We could also just go Tyreek, which is kind of fun. I feel like Tyreek's come down a good amount here. Being at the 11 pick, Tyreek and CeeDee Lamb playing a Dallas-Miami Super Bowl. Another fun one. I don't know if relative to the fun rankings, I feel like Dallas-Miami, as fun as Detroit-Miami would be, of course, which is my current believer. That's one I believe is the apex of fun. But I think, I'd be happy to see Dallas and Miami get a rematch. Wasn't a bad game a couple weeks ago. Let's see what I'm going to make a pick here. We have CeeDee Lamb, Tyreek Hill. We have Dak available, Tony Pollard available. Who's more important? Can I maybe push Dak down if I take Tony Pollard? Let's see if we can push Dak around. Why not? Why not? I think there's a risk point here, but obviously if we don't get Dak, we can get Tua. But we'll see if this is a clean room. I mean, we have a couple non-badges, but non-badges doesn't always mean bad drafting. But maybe a little more risk of one of them taking Dak unstacked right now and hoping they could build out, I don't know, some Brandon Cook stuff, some Jake Ferguson stuff. But I'm hoping that not having Lamb and Pollard is enough to scare people off of taking Dak. Especially because these guys all have QBs. But we'll see. Hard to get an SF team when you start with CMC, and it's hard to get a non-CMC SF team can ship it. It just takes a CMC injury. It just takes a team shutting down CMC. I think you can definitely play into ways there. The issue is, to me, if you're not getting CMC, I would like to have the triple stack of Debo and Brandon Ayuk and have Kittle as well, and then have that be your way that you're getting leverage directly on the CMC situation. But yeah, it's hard to do that. So I agree that you're not getting perfect leverage for the most part. Though in earlier drafts, we did see people get full Niner stacks. The issue is now you're using so much draft capital, or even if that did fall to you, it's like you're then using your first 4 picks on a team that's not going to have a bye. Okay, House always wins, of course. Had to take the Cowboys, which if he's playing a Niners Cowboys NFC title game, that's fine. That's a play that I could be okay with him sniping me on. But if he's not playing that, he is a real twat. is what I'm going to go with. That's going to be the word that I'm using here. I don't like using the C word now. I feel like that's now, if we're not British or Australian, can't get away with that. But he gets the T word from me. He gets that. Like going Pollard before Dak. All right, our guy Raise It is here. So he's the one who, of course, has been right on stream again and stuff that I've been wrong about. Again, the Houston one, I will give. That's one of those that's going to be cemented in my brain because I was like, Raise It, man, I just don't know. And Raise It was like, yeah, draft some Texans a couple weeks ago in playoff best ball drafts. And now the Texans are in the playoffs and, certainly seeming like a team that can do some damage potentially if they can get past just one round. Honestly, if they can beat Cleveland, I think that you get a lot more hope in them. And that's really an outcome, too, that I think nobody is accounting for. And it kind of makes me want to draft some Cleveland stuff, honestly. We got Raheem Mostert coming up. It's interesting that Achan's going down. Mostert's coming up. But obviously, they're close enough in ADPs. Let's get Mostert in. I do think Mostert is one that'll be the most trusted in the playoffs. Lots of GMs floating around here. Seems like that's the case of the NFL as well, huh, guys? All these firings. A lot of crazy coach things. The Belichick departure of Vrabel getting fired, really kind of thought they could have brought Vrabel back. I get why they wouldn't, because I think it's hard to separate, the man from that offense. Like he was just going to run slog offenses forever, and I don't think Tennessee wants to do that forever. But I think, Vrabel being available, Belichick being available, some people linking them to the Falcons, the Chargers, another one that's definitely going to be, could tempt him, I guess, if he wanted to go west. But lots of things that I think are going to be very important to how we view football this year. And also, too, I'm just curious to see what Belichick does, like just the narrative of that. All right, so we can keep building out more Miami. I mean, I like Achan here. I think there's ways that both these guys can get there. I think if Miami pulls ahead any of these games and does some damage, it's also very possible that Miami just done in the wild card round. But in that case, this team might advance out of the wild card and that can ruin somebody else's playoffs. Belichick, who down? Our guy Steven, of course, the local Patriots fan here, not happy about it. I mean, look, 25 years, like what are you going to do, man? Sometimes you got to move on. I was more surprised by the Pete Carroll thing. I didn't think that he was going to get tossed out. Because I think he's done a fine enough job. He really rebounded well from the Russell Wilson thing, handled that about as well as he could. I think that was the one that shocked me the most. But of course, I'm in the bag for Pete Carroll when he spoke to one of the classes I had there. I forget the teacher's name, but he was a guy that was like very well connected in the college athletic space. And we also had John Wooden who came to that class once before he died. So that was really cool too. But basically Pete Carroll was just like a great guy to have at USC when I was there. And that was some of my fondest memories for those football teams, the Reggie Bush, Matt Leinart years that I was on campus for. So I have a soft spot for Pete Carroll, even though obviously definitely a boomer, but like a boomer who I think has adapted relatively well. And we had some predictability with him, knowing what he would do with running back situations. And I don't know, but obviously they could get a better offensive guy in there now too. Like a young offensive guy could probably capitalize on DK Metcalf a little better, which ASN could do a little better. So, but that one was my surprise. Let's see, managed to get a team with CMC at the 103 and a full KC stack. All right, there we go. CMC plus full LAR. I mean, CMC plus full LAR, I don't know, makes sense for that. If you're getting full Rams, the Rams bet is that they're going to upset the Niners in round 2. So then you're not getting your Apex and McCaffrey or that Ram stack. So I personally wouldn't go with that one, but obviously whatever, something like many things can win. I'm not going to tell you I know it all. Even though obviously we can all assume the guy in the plasticky money hat, I think we all assume that guy knows it all. All right, so we could take another Dallas player and really cement the Dallas stuff and then still have enough. We could get another 2-man stack on top. But I think let's do Tua here because we're so tied to Miami now. We've now made a bet that Miami is going to make the Super Bowl. They're going to have this run where Mostert and Achan are trading days of being the bell cow back. I think we have to take Tua because that's what the bet is. Tua's upside, man. I know that the Dolphins fans, Nick Lepre, a guy who I like a lot, has a great channel on YouTube as well, the Notorious Fantasy channel. If you want another one, especially if you're a season-long player to check out, enjoy him very much. But he was like one of those guys that's like, oh yeah, Tua, why would they get rid of Tua? He's so great. And I think if they flame out in round 1 here, I think that's one of the things you can blame because we don't want to blame the offense, even though the offense, when teams see Miami a second time, they get a little bit worse. But I think what you can blame is the QB play and say that we have a higher ceiling if we get a different QB, and whether that be a vet, whether that be a young guy. I think especially, it would be fun if Miami put in a Jaden Daniels, who I believe is AR plus CJ Stroud in one package. Putting him in that offense would be fun if Tua did flame out. But I think Tua, this is like a real, I always talk about the rubber meets the road spots. this is a real rubber meets the road spot for Tua, where I think if they don't win, they're not going to blame like Mike McDaniel. He's the boy genius. I think they blame Tua and the fact that he doesn't add enough. He's especially in a QB, a conference where the QBs are all adding so much value rushing. Like Tua's not like actively. He's taking value away when he runs the ball. Let's see. Spags, what's your favorite bet / prop of the wildcard weekend? Minus pack plus 7.5 in the over. I actually haven't looked at it yet. I do the probably video for tomorrow. So that's the data that I trust and follow for everything. So that would be my default. But I talked about, the upsets that I would like. Somebody asked me, I think was it Dion? Oh, it was Jason who was asking me about like what my pick would be for money line bets or like the longer shot ones. I think the best payout would still be the Pittsburgh one. If just Buffalo, the horseshoe is off the ass from the last month. But let's figure out what we could do for these final picks. Let me make sure I build a solid team here. We could build Tampa Bay, could build Green Bay, but obviously Green Bay is playing Dallas, so that doesn't make sense. Let's build Tampa Bay. Let's take Rachaad White here. I feel like I've backstopped the all Florida Super Bowl a lot of times in these playoff drafts, which might need a tendency break that a little bit, but Green Bay just didn't make sense here because obviously only one of these teams is going to be around past one round in between Dallas and Green Bay. We got Mike Evans still. Oops. Not Evza. Oh, Mike Evans went. Did Godwin go too? Okay, no, Godwin didn't go. So, all right, that's fine. Because I feel like Evans is probably the default one that everybody takes. So, we're all right here. So, teams so far have not been doing a good job reading the team because I'm extrapolating too much on my views on things. Tua, Tony Pollard, Raheem Mostert, Devon Achane, Rachaad White. So, a bunch of guys going to the wild card. I like that. CeeDee Lamb, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Chris Godwin. Again, a bunch of guys going in the wild card. We just need a Dallas-Tampa Bay NFC title game. And then, again, I'm still okay taking Durham Smythe in these teams. I know Durham Smythe has not hit a ceiling at any point, but I think the usage has been encouraging. And if Waddle gets blown up again, I think that you could just see Smythe get a few more targets because he's going to be on the field for a lot of snaps. And at the playoffs, we just have to go to somebody. So I think that's it. Shout out to our guy Bindles here. Godwin is my favorite 6th round BR play. All right. Definitely a lot of ways they can get there. I think playing the Tampa Bay upset too is not the craziest, even though I think the markets are so down on Philly that you're probably not getting enough value out of that, both in best ball and in general. Where it like that Philly line is really kind of, I think, a damning take on them. But obviously we don't know who's going to be playing in the game yet. So I get why there's a kind of conservative line. But I think the Bucks upset at home, like if you really think that Philly's that bad, I don't know why you wouldn't be betting the Bucks to win outright. All right, we got one more pick here. We have a 5-2-2 right now. But yeah, I think it's Durham Smythe. Probably some ways that a Cedric Wilson could get there as well, but I'm just going to take the crush of routes. I think being out there for that much time on the field matters in the playoffs. So that's going to be my pick here, rounding it out. Final team: Tua, Tony Pollard, Raheem Mostert, Devon Achane, Rachaad White, CeeDee Lamb, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Chris Godwin, Durham Smythe. I know I had to read that fast, but that's because Underdog kicks you out of the room. We're going to hit one more mitten here, and then we're going to suck it up and do DraftKings. But Mitten 4, of course, the prize structure, $25K or $20K to first place, $10,303 to second place because somebody's got OCD. Underdog, I don't know. But we are in there. That's what I'm doing. All right, heard a rumor that Belichick just walked into Goodell's office and said, "Get out of my chair, I'm the captain now." I mean, he feels like one of those guys. I don't think he's done coaching, but he feels like one of those guys, like kind of a Joe Dumars type where, you just go into the front office, you become the head of discipline or something. Like, I think that's completely, would not be crazy, but I think he's got a little bit of a chip on his shoulder where people think, that run for the Patriots after Tom Brady left was not good. So I think him going somewhere else, even if it is kind of the Kevin Durant to the Golden State Warriors equivalent of him going somewhere that's got all the things in place already, like the Chargers, kind of like the Falcons, I think that would not be crazy to see Bill Belichick do that and want to do that. So, but yeah, you could do whatever he wants. Like for what he's done for the NFL, he should be able to punch whatever ticket. Besides doing media, I think that would be the one. That would be funny watching him on one of those like big round table like pregame shows, having to fucking do silly bits. They put the Lee Corso head on him. I'm sure that he would love that. He'd be just as charming as we could all imagine. Also, if you guys are new around here, or if you're not subscribed, please do subscribe down below. Here we can even use a big one. Boom, big subscribe. Subscribe down below, please. Splash Play in the march to 4K subs, 5K subs, 10K subs, a million K subs. And again, the best ball, the process for best ball prep, it already begins here. We're doing playoff best ball now, but yesterday covered the wide receivers, the rookie class coming in, guys that I think will matter in the world of fantasy football this year. So that's what it is here. Fantasy football year round has been the pitch for Splash Play that I've had forever. So that is why we are going to keep doing that here. And I'm even going to make the board bigger for you because I realized we got some space to play with here. Yeah, I felt like the rookie wide receivers, very excited for that. I was watching highlights after yesterday. I will say Troy Franklin, loved the numbers on him. Like visually didn't do as much for me watching some of the highlights again, just like a 6-minute, 8-minute highlight reel, whatever it was. Little slight too, but Troy Franklin's numbers were really good. So that's the one thing I would say that I was like, man, I wish he looked a little better, but he didn't. I feel like I don't do Purdy Niner stacks often, so let's try that. Let's see what we can do. Obviously, that does mean that we then need to draft another QB to play for an NFC title game, or ideally a QB from the AFC to then carry them against Brock Purdy in the Super Bowl. But we have to be conscious here because we do have the bye week coming up for the Niners, so using 2 top picks can be pretty tough. Watch the wide receiver show this morning. They're fun. Good perspective outside of the film. Yeah, that's why I like not watching the film if I can. Like Marvin Harrison, again, I've had curiosity about for a while. With Neighbors, though, like watching him really fully for the first time after doing the video yesterday, I was just like, wow, like the way that he uses space is like really, really fucking incredible. Like he does some things, just he finds the outside really well. Which I like. Like, I think that's the kind of play that will lead to him having big plays. And again, he's already great downfield as is, but if he's great downfield, it can also then break plays. And he's got a little Debo in him too, like definitely not the size, but like he has the ability to do some running back plays. Maybe more of a, I guess, Jaden Reed, if you want to compare him to another LSU guy. But I like Neighbors. I really like Odunze. I also felt like seeing the numbers, then watching the film, it's like, it's tight, man. Like he's a really good contested ball guy, like really physical too, which I like. If you're, obviously if you are going to be a contested catch guy, you do have to be physical. But I really thought with Odunze that I could see why I'm concerned about him. Like I need to see the physicals. I need to see him running a 4.4, 4.5 at least. I think to really feel good about that. And of course, the RAS testing, that'll be very important to see for him because I think Odunze still getting whiffs of gimmick with him that I think are not there for Neighbors and definitely not there for Marvin Harrison. Marvin Harrison is woof. The only thing that I didn't like about the Marvin Harrison highlights, watching some more of those, was just with Gus Johnson calling him Maserati Marv over and over again. Maserati Marv, touchdown, Maserati Marv. Like, oh my God, I get he's a Maserati. I understand. I get it. All right. On the clock here, we got Purdy, Ayuk. Could play Miami again. Look, I'm not tired of Miami. I don't know I think I might be alone in this relative to the draft rooms, at least that we have been in here. But I can play some Miami stuff and not feel bad about that. I could also do Miami and a little bit of Baltimore potentially. No, but I think we've lost Zago. Yeah, Zay Flowers already went. It's kind of lost some of the better parts of Baltimore. Could build KC. All right, yeah, let's build KC a little. So I'm going to try to do is get Tua with my Tyreek to try to get us through the wild card. You know what? I shouldn't have done that. I got too excited and I was like correlation, but no, we don't need correlation for the wild card. That was a big mistake. But I was like, I want to build 2 AFC teams. I guess we can salvage it, but this is stupid to have now building a team that might just be eliminated in the wild card. But yeah, I was like, I want to take another AFC team. I wanted to get a second AFC stack and then just panicked and forgot that the Chiefs are playing Miami, which day one stuff, guys, here that I'm fucking up. I'm fucking it up as a lesson here. And also, I was just getting too worked up over Maserati Marv. Neighbors is a stud. I agree. Taking Nolan's KC pieces. Sorry. It was a mistake. It was a brain fart. Nolan, you're OMG? I did not know that. But yeah, double apologies to Nolan then. That was a brain fart and a half, man. I fucked up. Look, sometimes you got to take our lumps here, and that's when I'm taking the lump. But the good news is we might knock Nolan out of the wild card round. So take that. But now I know Nolan's OMG. I might not have known that otherwise. If Belichick went to the Chargers and got his own weekly show, but just sat outside in the rain to match his charming persona, yes, I mean, look, I think he would be a great TV personality. They should have him doing man on the street interviews or sideline reporting. Bill Belichick on the sidelines. What do you think about? Hey, first half pretty tough, huh? All right, thank you. That was just every interview Bill Belichick does. Not giving you James Cook in the fourth after that third round shit. All right. I think that's fair. FF Links not making Raise It happy. I don't know if FF Links is in the chat. I assume FF Links a big fan of the Atari Lynx, even though it's spelled, I think it's spelled differently. Never had the Lynx. Never had the Lynx nor the Jaguar, nor the Neo Geo, which I've seen reemerge lately on like viral things. Also, this guy going wide receiver crazy in the right in the 5-hole, which I like. Going 0 RB in playoff best ball though. It's not something I necessarily do, even though I love 0 RB. Wow, he's just going, hey, I'll get this running back much later on. Good for him, I suppose. All right, we're gonna be able to get to Rashee Rice, of course, an important piece for us to advance. And now take Achane as well. And we'll punt to it down and hope that FF Lynx doesn't get too excited. Oh, man. I meant Seattle. Yes, I guess I can't imagine if Seattle went from Carroll to Belichick, that'd be kind of an insane move, I think. I think Belichick, he's got to be like I think it's got to be Atlanta, really, because Atlanta's chased the big dogs before, have tried to get the big coaches in and kind of to settle for a little bit less. I think Atlanta for Belichick kind of makes sense, especially because they are, willing to play a sloggy offense. They employed Arthur Smith for a little bit longer than they probably should have. So I think that they're willing to probably accept that. And Belichick, maybe he somehow gets good tight end play out of Kyle Pitts would be the hopeful outcome out of that. He obviously knows Jonnu Smith. I don't know if that's a positive or a negative for Jonnu. But if there's one thing Belichick has gotten even this year, obviously Hunter Henry got hurt down the stretch and the QB play fell apart. Did get production at tight end, so maybe that would be one bright side if Belichick went to the Falcons. For all the people out there that have been martingale Kyle Pitts over and over again, but Kyle Pitts apparently was more injured than he was reported on, so maybe that's his defense for the year. All right, so we got this guy here with Niners, Detroit, Rams, Cleveland, so he's doing a little bit of everything. So I don't feel bad. I'm not alone here in my idiot play of drafting Rashee Rice. Hurting Nolan in the process. Poor Nolan. He was at home thinking, OMG. Name came in handy. Jared Goff, right? Raise it, building some Lion stuff. Got Goff, Gibbs, Amon-Ra. All right, so he's building Detroit, Dallas. A little bit of Houston as well and Buffalo. So one would think those are his 4 teams, but we'll see what else Raise It does. Luke Big Shots has some Baltimore, Dallas things with a taste of Philly involved. So he's building a Baltimore base. I'm sure he got Gus instead of Justice Hill, which I'd prefer the inverse, I think. We get Jalen Waddle here, and we get 2 as well. So we've completed Miami. And we have a great bring back for the wild card with Rashee Rice. So things are really looking up for this team after my early brain fart. Playoff best ball, catch the fear. I really need to bask in this being a peaceful time here. Like the chat's everybody's hanging out. I imagine you guys, wherever you're watching, you're having some coffee. Maybe you're having early lunch going. You're relaxed. This is a nice little relaxing stream. I'm keeping a nice pace to myself. I'm not even talking as fast as usual because that's how easy and relaxing this draft is. Then we're going to hop over to DraftKings and it's going to be me going slowly insane or very quickly insane, more likely. Going Swift ahead of Hurts with his build is wild. Yeah, he really could have piled it on, but maybe he thinks that he can just get Jalen Hurts one more round. Mr. Pittsburgh's drinking chocolate milk. All right, well, I was conjuring up a different vision for you, but whatever, a relaxing time drinking chocolate milk. I don't think chocolate milk is inherently not relaxing. It's not like you're drinking Red Bull and vodka. I think that would be running counter to the vision. mission that I have for you guys on this very relaxing underdog playoff best ball draft. But then we'll hop into DraftKings, and it's going to be like ripping lines. It's going to be we're back in the club with guys wearing Express shirts, H&M and Express all around, Cologne, Aqua de Gio floating through the air. Am I painting a picture? Hope so. All right, Justin's got an iced coffee. Where do you live somewhere warm, Justin? I feel like an iced coffee and like, I don't know. It's pretty cold out there. I've taken out the trash cans, and I never I'm just wearing a t-shirt and shorts, and that's really what I wear because I'm a dad who works from home, and that's basically the life. Also, this guy, man, Luke Big Shots is going to get Jalen Hurts in the 10th round. Should we do something fun? Should we do something fun? Luke, if you're in the chat, I'm sorry, but I just had to. You can't get Jalen Hurts in the 10th round. And what do you think you're doing, man? And yeah, let's take Elijah Mitchell too. Sure. I can't. I couldn't allow that. Are you kidding me? You passed him up one more time? You should have locked that down, bro. Somebody got a little greedy. I think Luke's a little greedy piggy. Luke Pig Shots is more like it. Sorry, dude. Look at my fucking hell, man. This is you don't get to come in here and draft the cleanest Baltimore Dallas Eagles stack in history. No, you now don't have a QB. I didn't even realize he doesn't have a QB to get through the first round. Oh boy. So wrong on me. Look, I agree. But I'm owed one. Like, you know how much everybody takes from me here on stream, how much I get hurt. So Luke gets hurt. Luke gets hurt. You rage quit. You got CJ Stroud. Great bit. All right, now it gets worse. Now it gets worse. All right. We go to the world of DraftKings. Of course, DraftKings, playoff best ball here. Could do the front four. Actually, did the play action fill? Yeah, play action filled. All right, we're going to do the front four, I guess. 20 entry max. I've not maxed out anything. But we got this here. We're going to do it. Payout structure for this one. 15K to first, 7,610 to second, because everybody wants to give me weird payout structures. Well, let's do it. DK. And again, what I just did to somebody there is going to happen to me much worse here. So have no fear. I'll get my comeuppance pretty much immediately. That was dirty. I don't know. I did it for the room. I like Raise It didn't think that was fair, but then I hurt Raise It too because he wanted Stroud. So the butterfly effect of my chaos has hurt those I love, and I apologize for it. I hurt Nolan in that draft. I hurt Raise It, but I saved us from that guy having a really, really sick team. So you're welcome. Spags are supposed to bring balance to the force, not the strike. I just slaughtered the little children with my Jedi blade. Whatever, man. Sometimes you got to give in. Everybody else wants to play like that. Spags can play like that. I'm going to make this board a little bigger. Try to. There we go. Zooming out. Why subject yourself to DK at all? Underdog is better for best ball anyway. I agree. The issue is that I know DraftKings ends up being more entertaining. I guess if I do shit like I just did in that last draft, then, but I don't want to do that was a one-time deal. I can't be sniping people. I can't make that my bit because I think that's inherently a waste of money for me, but also would just be not good to do. But here on DraftKings, it's like chaos is going to occur naturally. So that's why we're doing DraftKings. Do as I say, not as I do. Okay. I think that's fair. Oh, Nolan's in this one too. Revenge. Look, for what I did to you, Nolan, was accidental. But I think we can all agree that what I did saving us from Jalen Hurts guy in that draft, I think that was a kindness. So for me, I would say we kind of balanced it out. Competition has to be way easier on DK. I'd presume you're just getting more dead lineups that can't field full rosters. And whatever amount of dead rosters, of course, that can't field the full team in the Super Bowl, you're better off with. Obviously, the structures, I think, pretty much the same, like in terms of the advance rates and all that. But I think you're probably drafting against more dead teams. The issue, though, is that like the draft rooms on DraftKings are just inherently a little more aggressive, a little more snipey, a little more just taking 2-2-2-2-2s like we've seen. So we'll try to survive. I think the last time we did DraftKings, I felt like the second team I built was pretty good. The first team just got ruined by the people who were drafting like assholes. So which outcome we'll get today, you will find out alongside me here. And I see view counts going up, guys. Please join along for the ride here. If you're new to Splash Play, don't be shy. Hop into the chat, and of course, feel free to hit the subscribe button down below as well. Join the family here. And it is family. Yeah, I like to embrace you all. I imagine, again, so I've imagined you guys a lot today, what you're doing. I also want to imagine myself coming up and giving you a big old hug and going, maybe not from behind you, like not sneaking up behind your office chair and giving you a hug, because that feels a little harassy. But like, like a real, like a nice bro hug. Like, hey, man, like, okay, great to have you here. All right, players who we can select in DraftKings. We can pick 2 here. Okay, so our guy Nolan is not taking Niners, so we will safely take ourselves a Niner stack here. Big Brock Purdy day for me. I've not gotten a lot of Brock Purdy. Gamblestein here, America's hero, America's favorite. Glad to see him in here. He takes my abuse, he comes back. That's what love is. Like we've all said, true romance story. Spags, what do you think the game looks like if we get a rematch of the Niners-Ravens Super Bowl? I think the Ravens put it down on them. I think the Ravens are a team that are not the kind of team I like. I like Todd Monken as a coordinator. I think he's very smart. The issue is like he's built very visually appealing offenses in the past. And I think he's now learned that you don't have to do that. You can just kind of, and not that the Ravens, like, if you watch the film or whatever, and you go like, oh, the blocking, it's like, if you're like, there's beauty in what they're doing right now too. It's just not the kind of football I enjoy the most. I enjoy wide open fields, defenses that are haphazardly put together and struggle, but also the offenses are so great that they allow it to be fun on both sides of the ball. That's my platonic ideal of football. And I personally be okay if we keep putting in rules every year that cripple defenders and they have to like tickle people down now. Like, I don't really care. I just want offense. And I think the Ravens are just so good because they don't need to pile on points. But if you have to, they'll put up 50 on you. I think it's hard to dig out of. And they have the weapons too. They have the ability to play the kind of football I like. They have the Zay Flowerses. If Andrews comes back in, great. But if not, likely has been a revelation down the stretch too. I just think they're too good, unfortunately. Because I just don't think it's the most fun outcome for them. Let's see. Are you playing any FFPC? Doing a few $200 of prize pools too big to ignore? I think it's an interesting concept. I watched a little bit of the videos that Ship Chasing did this week, talking about the projected ownership and all that. But I honestly don't have the bandwidth, and frankly, my bankroll right now is going to either sports betting or going to things I have to pay for probably. So that's the reality here. That's why I'm playing some lower stakes stuff. Normally, I would just be blowing the $20 entries, but got to be responsible here in Q1, which is why, hey, if you really want to see Spags gambling recklessly, great time to go sign up for probably, right? Go use that promo code SPLASH. If you want Spags and higher stake things on stream, spend some money, support the product. Let's build an AFC thing here if we can. Obviously, we got to go down a little bit lower because we are tapped. You know what? Let's build some Texans stuff. Let's get crazy. Let's go Team Texans. And you know what? Let's see if we can build Cleveland at the same time. Let's build an outcome that we know we're going to get a team out of the wild card is what I'm going to try to do on DraftKings. I also think I'm going to get sniped on this one as well. So that's why there. But I really, maybe could have gone, who would be the better team to go to that's not Cleveland? The issue was I wanted to build a fun Houston team, and I was like, who's a low seed we can go to? There really isn't another low seed. I'd have to build out Steelers things, I guess. I could build out Steelers in parallel. So we're going to try to play for an outcome where we're just getting out of the wild card because we did lose that early draft capital on Purdy and Debo. Going to play a little bit of Cleveland, Houston, but I think also try to build out Pittsburgh, which feels like this will be my only Pittsburgh share. Couldn't reach for Pittsburgh there, I think is why I had the mental block. It was I'm just going to take Njoku. But the move could have been to reach for a Pickens or a Deontay Johnson. In this size of a draft, though, a 12-round draft, I think we have a little bit more room to make this work. But not the smartest. Don't forget to drop a like. Oh yeah, yes, Mr. knows. Again, top 10 finisher in BBM, Mr. That's going to be the way that I address him every time that he appears in chat. So make sure to listen to him. If anybody knows, the guy who finished top 10. The other guy who finished top 10 on DK, Junker. I feel like he's never in chat. He watches Splash play, but he's not in chat. So I can't address him with the proper laurels there. Steelers got a Super Bowl. All right. I hope you're right about the Steelers, at least for this build. Got to draft like we're right. Green Bay, better game environment. I mean, look, we could play Green Bay a little too. We could play Green Bay makes the no, because they can't make the NFC title game. But I guess we're kind of throwing that out the window because I've been picking guys stupidly today. But yeah, I think that would be yeah. All right. Well, let's figure this out. Could also take Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay advances. Pretty good shot. They're not facing the Niners. But let's build out Cleveland. Again, we're going to get both parts of Cleveland and Houston here, and we'll get one team through to the second round, or like one stack through the second round. Cooper's right here. Cooper officially confirmed to be playing this week too, if that is something you're concerned about. Obviously, I don't think you should be, but in case you were. You may address me however you like. To be clear, I'm saying that because it makes the show look better. It's not necessarily to like trumpet you in like a king, but obviously, I'm happy to do that as well. FF Doom, GM Spags, GM'd FF Doom as well. Appreciate you being here, of course. DraftKings not tilting me too bad. If anything's tilting me, it's my own errors. But Underdog, I did the tilting. It was like the Walter White. I'm the one who knocks. I'm the one who creates tilt. I'm the one who makes others tilt. But we'll see. Got some Tampa Bay going for the guy in the 3-hole. Nickel back in here. Looking for pals. Assuming we are adding Jennings to this draft for Purdy, maybe. Maybe I'll add Ronnie Bell. I don't know. Jennings has been kind of banged up. And Bell, like anytime Bell's on the field, he does something. Like Ronnie Bell is kind of what I hope Danny Gray would be. Danny Gray, I'm like just a different player, like fast guy, downfield guy. Ronnie Bell is like a good route runner who does some interesting stuff. One hole guy built a full KC stack. All right, so now he's just building fringe NFC contenders. So the one hole guy actually built a logical team. I actually like his team. He needs more wide receivers. A little running back heavy. But besides that, the structure is okay. One Green Bay share for the hardcore degenerates. There's a lot of people who are sharp out there who really like Green Bay now in a way. Like, I think Green Bay's made tremendous strides. Again, I was on Green Bay as early as anybody. I won't take the full like victory lap. But you guys know I drafted a lot of Jordan Love. Obviously, Christian Watson, hopefully gets back in for the playoffs. But there's a lot of people who really think that like Green Bay is like live to do damage in the playoffs. And I'm not sure I'm as convinced of that, but I'm intrigued by the concept of it. I am going to just lock down Stroud because I think we needed to do that at this point. We do need running backs pretty badly here. Ford went as well, right? I'm pretty sure. Yeah, so let's go Singletary for this one. Ugh, I don't like this one. Any weird quirks I've noticed in DK drafts? Yeah, people are idiots and don't draft teams that make the most sense. And obviously, that can happen sometimes. Like I brain fart and I draft teams that sometimes have some logical fallacies. But I think the real thing is like people will build legitimately like two teams. So you kind of have to just account for that in your draft approach and be willing to take some weird things. Obviously, I got Purdy here, got Debo, so I got some NFC stuff. And then I immediately tried to build AFC out. But I also I needed to build Steelers. And I still can build them late, I think. Nobody's taken any Steelers yet. But yeah, I think you kind of have to build a little more 4D chessy just to get ahead of the fact that people are going to snipe you for things that you didn't even think anybody would snipe you for. Would probably be the biggest difference. Get Bo Melton. Okay, as part of a Green Bay. I mean, at a certain point, Bo Melton's not going to get very many routes. And this is still fundamentally a game where we want a guy to be getting, at least 20 routes a game. I think Melton, I guess, unless is Dobbs hurt now? I feel like Dobbs he's been hurt in game. I know I've seen that while watching Green Bay play. I'll look it up in a separate tab here. But I feel like Dobbs also maybe kind of losing his role because Wicks looks better. You know, the Wicks plays more out of the slot, I think, than Dobbs does. Dobbs a limited participant now, but so's Christian Watson. Oh, I hope Christian Watson plays. Really do. People overthink these drafts. Take the best players. Are you being ironic, Devin? Are you? I agree. Are you saying take the best teams? Like you're not saying take the best players. Like take CMC, take AJ Brown, take CD Lamb on one team. Obviously, you can't do that. But like, I hope that's not what Devin is saying there. But you are still trying to take, yes, like I've said it on here. You know, it's relative. I would keep my exposures relative to like what the chances of making the playoff are, where like, or making the Super Bowl, making the conference title game are. So if it's like a 5% chance for the Rams, let's say, to make the conference title game, I would think you then want to play 5% Rams as a max. But you know, I get people are going to play that a little bit differently for sure. Hi, buttholes. Fun fact, Lucas started to say butthole recently because Alex said butthole to him, I guess, about like cleaning his butthole. And now he's saying butthole a little bit more. So we now have to be where she's being more cautious with her language. I'm just vibing. I'm just living my life. I don't know what you mean, Devin. People say dumb shit. You need to clarify. But it's still not like, I don't know. You're still taking good players. You're just playing any outcome that you're drafting. You just need to be drafting that as though it's right. Are they just not going to take a lot of these players here? Like, are these guys just willfully not drafting people with Q tags? Is that the meta in this particular draft? All right, we have 3 rounds here. Let's build one Pittsburgh thing just for funsies. But I guess they're not drafting Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle, Swift, Mostert. But they drafted AJ Brown, who's probably got the biggest risk of continuing to be hurt now, right? I haven't seen any AJ Brown news updates for sure. He's just questionable. They're hopeful about having him? I don't know about that. I think that's like being hopeful for Detroit, like having Sam Laporte in. I just don't think you can have these guys go on 1 week. Like the risk of doing material damage to one of these guys' knees if they go before they're like fully ready, I think it's a bad scene. I don't know. The DK drafters are horrified at Q tags. That's insane. It's absolutely insane. Like, I mean, I know that was obviously the case throughout even preseason best ball or regular season best ball. And it makes even less sense then because there's a bigger window for guys to get healthy and still add value to your team. But like, it's for playoff best ball. It's like DeAndre Swift is questionable because he's got an illness. Like he's not even hurt. So you shouldn't be knocking him down unless you just think the Eagles sucks, which I get. Obviously, we're seeing that in every room, but crazy. Expect AJ Brown to be a decoy at best. All right, Gamelstein's on the record for it. I just wouldn't even put him out there. Like it's still a knee injury. Like running is not a great thing to do. Incidental contact is not a great thing. I wouldn't risk it for your franchise guy. Jalen Hurts is obviously the franchise guy, but in terms of wide receivers, like he's a franchise guy. My kids scream "fuck you" at the adversaries in Mario Kart, as well as Bonk. Okay, good. I'm glad they got Bonk. Bonk is a good one. That's like cute. Screaming "fuck you" in Mario Kart, perhaps less so. But again, if somebody hits you with that blue shell, what are you gonna do, man? Or if it hits you with a red shell, but it's like one of those windy ones where they get, oh God, fully get it, man. We're a Najee Harris household now. We've always been big believers in Najee Harris here, and now we're going to do it for real. Najee Harris, and then I do need one more Niners guy. Jennings is available. Jennings is going to get healthy. You got to think they trust him more than Ronnie Bell, even though I do think Ronnie Bell is a better receiver. But I'll take Jennings to complete my Niners stuff. So final team here, Brock Purdy, Singletary, Debo, Nico, David Njoku, Cooper, Flacco, Stroud, Schultz, Pickens, Harris, Jennings. One thing I fucked up, I don't have a running back for Cleveland. I should have taken Kareem Hunt, I think, over... should have taken Kareem Hunt over something. DK drafts, man, I just did not enjoy that one. I fucked that one up early, did not get better. Let's start up a new one. If you're in this room still, I apologize, but I don't care. So let's do another one. We're doing the front four again. Prize structure, I've already forgotten, but we'll look it up one more time. 15K to first this one in the front four, 20 entry max. Let's draft a team. And again, part of the logic too for drafting the 20 max teams here on stream, the sniping is too much for me. Again, with me being responsible with my bankroll right now, or as responsible as I can be relative to my own proclivities. That sounded creepier than it had to be. But I like, oh, all right, one hole. Exciting here. I just don't want to get sniped to death in the $20 drafts. I just don't need it. I don't need it for myself personally. Not right now. Not today. Or I would take Julio Jones over Bo Melton. I mean, Julio's had a 2-touchdown game. I don't think that's a hot take. I think both are still a little bit like erring on the side of recency bias, but like they're going to be on the field some amount. And low-owned parts of these stacks are the important thing, especially if you are going to get to that final round. If you have, Dontavian, well, I guess not Dontavian Wicks. If you had the Packers, it's low-owned enough. If you had Juwan Jennings or Ronnie Bell and Debo busts somehow, Debo gets hurt, like Ayuk gets hurt, there's ways that could result in you having the nuts for the Super Bowl, and you got to have to be leaning into that. How much are you leaning into the only one team advancing aspect? Not that much. I mean, obviously that last build had a lot of wild card representation. But I think you just have to trust that your team is going to be able to get enough guys together correlated to move forward. I'd rather get through thinly for these as much as possible. I'd rather advance like as narrowly as possible rather than build the sickest round 1 team or the sickest round 2 team. I want to keep escaping each bracket so I have the best possible team for the Super Bowl. So that's the way I like to play it. Obviously, everybody talks about playing for the finals EV, but I think for me especially, it's like I would rather wipe out and not advance any teams, which is not the way to do this, but in terms of the play aggressiveness, I'd rather wipe out and not get through any wildcard teams because I didn't have the DK Metcalf who got 1 game, but have like teams that are built to actually have enough guys in the Super Bowl and maybe have upside. Watch playoff Kenneth Gainwell and McKinnon be the pieces you need. I mean, they were... McKinnon? No, McKinnon kind of gave up the role to Pacheco down the home stretch last year. But Gainwell was last year. Gainwell got all that blowout run when the Eagles were very much ahead in games. And also then Miles Sanders kind of Miles Sandered it up a little bit. And that was that. We're going to take our CMC share, though. I'm not going to look the gift horse in the mouth getting a 101. So start off with CMC. We'll see what our guy Ross in the 2-hole, Robert Griffin III does for himself. See what the Brad does. Stevens A. Was Stevens A? I feel like he was in one of the other drafts that did not help out the room, if I remember correctly. So let's watch out for Stevens A. Let's be very cautious of this guy here, this character. Got 14 seconds left on the clock. He's really thinking through how to fuck us all up. Josh Allen, okay. Starting clean. The funniest outcome in the playoffs would have to be Josh Allen losing in round 1, right? Like after they've fired the OC, go on this run, build some faith finally, then they looked good in Sunday Night Football, but kind of got lucky with the Jags blowing that game where they didn't really end up in a true do or die game against Miami. It would be funny if this is the year. I mean, I think both outcomes are actually kind of funny in terms of just like how it works, where if the Bills get wiped out in round 1, lose to the Steelers as a gigantic favorite, funny. If the Bills make the Super Bowl, because like this is the year where they just luck into an easier path to it. Everything fell their way after they were objectively not good for large portions of the year. Also funny. So I think there's a couple of big outs for the Bills this year to have a funny outcome for us all. Stevens A gets screwed by ADS here. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Stephon Diggs start for him. Of course, he could be building a Detroit Buffalo thing, but that does not help out the guy in the 4-hole who I'm sure is tilting as the clock ticks down. Gainwell killed Raise It last year, had that massive game, the divisional round. Yes, I believe that was it. Yeah, it was the second round where he went nuts, I think for 130 yards or something, like had one of the best days of his career. And then I think he still got work in the conference title game too. But Gainwell's definitely somebody to watch. I would have liked to have gotten Ayuk as part of this just to give me one more. I could take Kittle, and I think I am going to take Kittle here and do that. We don't have a QB if we go with Zay Flowers. I was kind of thinking Baltimore, San Francisco would be a fun thing to try to build with like another stack carrying it. We're not going to go that way. Let's go down a little here. Let's try to really build Cleveland this time. Let's build a Cleveland Niners Super Bowl. I'm not going to get distracted by Stroud stuff. I will not take Green Bay in this lineup. I know people want me to build Green Bay. Let's save that for maybe our last draft coming up here. This honestly should be the last draft. I feel like these drafts take a little bit longer on DraftKings. Stevens A is up to something. We can't trust him. I agree. I feel like even if I don't remember the specific players or their names or what they did, people who do shit in drafts that make me tilt or things that fuck up my team or other teams, I feel like I always have like part of my brain that just stores it in there, and it's like, watch out for this fucking Stevens A. I recognize that avatar. The name rings a bell. I'm sure that he's fucked me over in the past. I think he possibly is one of the guys who fucked me up earlier this week in the DraftKings draft by doing dumb shit. But he's currently drafting, I guess not that logically, Buffalo, Miami. We'll see what he does. There's a way that this is a logical draft. I'm not sure that it actually is, which I think is one of the most perplexing parts about playoff best ball drafts is if you do watch the draft board, and I think you probably shouldn't play off best ball as much as like a regular draft, if not more so. Okay, he's now building Ram stuff. See what he does with that. Just watching the other players draft, and it's like, okay, are they drafting logically? Are they drafting like, oh, here are my 2 AFC title teams, and I'm going to have the Bills be the one that makes the Super Bowl over it? Or are they just kind of picking guys, and then it happens to look like they're doing it the right way? We don't know sometimes, and I'm going to try to figure that out here. Amari Cooper's got to be one of the picks, so maybe we could push him down this Q tag room. All right, so we'll go. We got Njoku. We got Cooper. I don't think Flacco would get sniped from me. So let's see. Can we build? We could build some Miami stuff too. I think let's really build Steelers correctly. I'm just gonna grab Flacco because I don't think I'm at competition for anything here. Just want to make sure I am actually able to get all of Cleveland, all of Pittsburgh, and then we'll have our 2 Niners there as the NFC part, and then maybe think about another NFC team, but probably not. Should wrap it with a BR wildcard underdog draft. I could consider doing that tomorrow. I'm not really there for this right now. But we'll do the DFS video tomorrow for all of week 8 or all of week 18, all the wild card weekend coming up. We'll be doing the usual process there. Of course, I'll hand build the lineup. We'll look at projections. We'll build the optimizer, of course, do the sims on Stochastic. And again, if you also want to get Stochastic's data in advance of that show, still got it. They keep running things until the Super Bowl. So make sure to use that link in the description down below. Save 15% on Stochastic data. And that includes NBA. That includes college basketball. They have projections and stuff for. That includes MLB coming up. Any of the stuff that you want to get there. Check the link in the description and get yourself 15% off. And I think they don't have a promo code for themselves going right now. So check them out. A lot of changes at Stochastic too. Lots of stuff. I saw Ship My Money. Actually, I found out yesterday because I did a call with the CEO over there, Tom, to talk about, try to talk about probably, and then also see if there's more that I could do with them just because trying to make sense of like what my outlay for 2024 is of the work and what I'm trying to do with obviously probably being the primary focus here, being a primary focus. I need to supplement income and make it all kind of make sense overall. So I was talking to him in general about that. And then he mentioned that like I saw that Neil Orfield left, one of our pals here at Splash Play, who's been in the stream a bunch or been in the chat a bunch. So then he was like, "Oh yeah, Adam left too." I was like, "What?" Like I was really shocked by that because Ship My Money. If you don't follow him for NBA and for MLB, just like a very smart guy, very sharp guy. Obviously, I think the will to work maybe not the highest for him because he's a gambler. Like he loves gambling. He's very good at gambling, very good at DFS, and I think starting to dabble more in betting stuff. But interesting changes over there. Like definitely some key guys who've been on video a lot for them over the last few years not going to be there. So hopefully they'll keep it moving. Sad to see. But obviously I know what it's like, to leave Stochastic. It's hard to figure that stuff out. We got Mahomes. Okay, so he's building Buffalo, Kansas City. He's built this guy. This guy's just drafting, huh? This guy in the 5-hole is just drafting bullshit and not helping out anyone around him. So there we go. So we got our answer to what his draft style is. Jerome Ford here. Let's lock him down because we do need another Cleveland player. I could start building Pittsburgh now. I can just to plant a flag on it, or I could wait. Honestly, I don't think people are going to really want to build Pittsburgh anyway. So let's just build out all of Cleveland we can. I'm going to get Moore in as well. I think Elijah Moore, a perfectly fine pick. Like the usage for him down the home stretch with Flacco's been the QB. The narrative stuff with him too, with them both being on the Jets. I don't know that matters that much, but it does seem visually like they have a little bit more of a rapport. But the target workload for Moore being up is kind of the main thing. And especially if Cooper were to get hurt again, Moore is probably the primary beneficiary. Besides Njoku, who we already also have. But we got a Cleveland Niners Super Bowl lockdown, so that's okay. Need to now get a a Steelers Niners Super Bowl lockdown, which will, I'm sure, work really well for me. Using that same logic, does that make Eli Mitchell and Justice Hill really nice sleepers, help you advance in the divisional conference title games? I mean, I would think that any sort of leverage play would be helpful. I don't know if Rays is doing a bit here because I feel like that's something that Rays would have already been prioritizing with his drafts. But yeah, like I think any of the leverage players, like I do like those drafts. I think Neil Farley, by the way, I assume with the emojis, by the way, that Raise It is doing a bit of pointing out the obvious. But for Neil Farley, I think he's done a lot of good things on Twitter as well. I think his at handle on Twitter is at Feel Gnarly because you can't get the real name. But Feel, Feel spelled like Neil, Gnarly spelled like Farley. You'll figure it out. Point being, he's been posting some really good threads if you are trying to get more in playoff basketball and figure out how people are drafting. And some things are surprising there. Like apparently people not really stacking up Detroit more than 3 or 4 players. Findings like that I think are kind of interesting because to me, like I overstack pretty much everything. People not taking advantage of like just the concept of having lower owned pieces getting you to another round. And I think that's definitely something to take advantage of. Let's make our picks coming up here. Also I do have a request for you guys. And actually I'm going to have a couple of requests for you guys coming up because we actually are going to be launching the Probably app on the App Store soon. And I'm really going to be hoping that I can get help from you guys giving us, but if you can help us out, I'm trying to grow the Probably YouTube channel. And again, if you don't do sports betting, let me make these picks. If you don't do sports betting though, like no issue, but I could use help on the YouTube front because the algorithm has been really fucking tough to pin down. Let's start building Pittsburgh. I think we've got enough of Cleveland now. Pickens, let's get him. Najee, let's get him. And I think with this one as well, I am going to be trying to get both Pickens and Deontay and Najee and Jalen Warren together. If you guys have the ability to do it, or if you have the time to do it, please just check this video out and give it a like on there. And of course, if you're not subscribed to the Probably channel, please do that too, but help me out really trying to fight the algorithm on here. It's honestly a lot harder to build a new channel of daily content than I realized. And I probably should have built with more evergreen stuff first, but we're fucking doing what we're doing, giving out free bets every day on the Probably YouTube channel from our data, of course, that we track the winningest sportsbooks around the world to find the true probability of every event. So if you have the time, please click that video that is dropped in the chat and throw it a like if you can. Because YouTube is fucking hard, man. YouTube and TikTok, like the curveballs you get, like starting up a thing on both of those, I really didn't appreciate as somebody that's been, doing splash play for a while, helped build Stochastics YouTube up years ago when they were still Awesemo. But I just haven't been in the streets building a new channel like that in a while. And it's like, it's hard to fucking hard to do. That's what I've learned. And especially because I do watch a lot of content in the space and it's like, my God, like a lot of people just getting views by putting up whatever they do at midnight every day. And it's like, I can't, because of the way our data works and our app works, I can't do that for myself. So could use the help if you guys can do it. I have a full-on Miami Detroit stack down to Wilson / Williams with a one-off Gus at 13, other ADP. My favorite lineup so far. Yeah, I mean, look, Cedric Wilson, Williams. I don't know which Williams you're talking about. Oh, Jameson Williams. Yeah. I mean, those guys are valid. I think they're still in the rotation enough that they can have value and obviously would have more value if somebody gets hurt. But I think that's sort of another thing too, is like, obviously we're not expecting guys to get hurt in the playoffs and also still be at, the ability to advance if they are having guys hurt. Like if Tyreek Hill goes down, it's going to be hard for the Dolphins to advance feeding Cedric Wilson routes that Tyreek Hill would have had. But that said, like if Tyreek Hill goes down and they do advance and they keep squeaking by, it might just be that Cedric Wilson has, 15-point games, 20-point games, and full-point PPR. I think you have to play for those outcomes because it's one way that Miami wins, but you also get off the beaten path. Let's see. Got a couple more rounds. You got to keep drafting Pittsburgh guys at this point. Jalen Warren, Deontay. So one of the least sexy teams, but we're going to have a 5-man stack of it. So we've got Joe Flacco, Christian McCaffrey, Amari Cooper, Elijah Moore, George Kittle, David Njoku, Jerome Ford, Pickens, Najee Harris, Jalen Warren, Deontay Johnson. So if there's a Niners, Pittsburgh Super Bowl, we're going to be feasting. If it's back to the 70s, we're going to be crushing here. You can pick up stuff on probably for us in non-legal states. So you can use probably for that. It's not perfect right now. We are going to build a tool for that. But basically what you would do with probably would be you just kind of scroll through and honestly going event by event would probably be the best way to do it. Just pick off bets that have a prize picks line or an underdog line that's got a 54.9% probability or higher, or you could even do 54. But basically, like, that's what you're trying to do is like you're trying to hit the expected win rate per leg. So that's what we're going to build a tool that does at some point. It's just right now we're focused on getting out in the app store because like our biggest competition really is like the props.caches and the outliers, which are tools that just show you, if you're not familiar with them, very popular with people out there, but they just show you the last 10 games of data, or like they'll show you like an NBA wowie thing, like what Kyrie Irving does in games when Luka Doncic is off the court. And it's like people think that matters. And those companies are not made by like sharp bettors. They're made by people who are just trying to make a startup. Those are the most popular apps in the space right now. And they like effectively hurt people because they help you. They're basically double counting stats that like the sportsbook already knows, sportsbook's already accounting for. So that's who we're trying to compete with because like our betting product is the best data out there. You guys know Jason, who's in the chat, OG Mans fan. He's won, I think, like 5x, if not more, of like the yearly cost of the membership already because like that's our product works, but it's been very hard to like figure out how to sell it to people. Got to take Mason Rudolph here. Of course, the most sexy pick in the draft. It's going to give us 5 points a round. But final team here, we do have Joe Flacco, Christian McCaffrey, Amari Cooper, Elijah Moore, George Kittle, David Njoku, Jerome Ford, George Pickens, Najee Harris, Jalen Warren, Deontay Johnson, Mason Rudolph. You know what? Stevens A pulled out a solid squad. All right. So I guess maybe he fucked me over in the past. He didn't fuck me over here. I don't wish to do another DraftKings draft, but I do want to do one more underdog one here because this is the last playoff best ball content I'll be doing for the year. So let's get in one more here on Underdog. If you want to draft along with me, I'm going to hit one more of the Mitten 4. Of course, $5 entry fee. Let's pop it in. Palate cleanser, always a good one. Even though we're over an hour, whatever, man. I don't have any serious calls today. I just have to do my usual daily stand-up meeting with my CTO later today. So that's the game. So I'll give you guys one more draft, even though this makes the video intimidating. It's too long if people want to click it on YouTube. But if you guys, I do it for you who are here, who want to watch somebody draft teams for an hour and change. And really, DraftKings draft, that was pretty clean. I think the only person who's hurt me today was myself. So that's a good day. And I got to hurt that one guy before. So I think we've done some good things today. Are using shorts to bring in viewers? Probably seems like a perfect app for shorts. So I do like a daily, it's short enough, but I do like a daily normal video. But I do a TikTok version that's now just a graphic with the AI voice talking over it. Because frankly, that's a little bit less work and also I think a little more functional. But it's tough because like TikTok was like, we had one video that got like 2,500 views. And then the next like 4 days later, it was then stopping showing my videos to anybody. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? So then I had to take a few days off, try to redo the algorithm. I'm now like randomly liking sports betting fucking posts on there and commenting. A lot of things that go into like trying to build up a small business like probably is that maybe you guys don't see, but that's like, maybe it's interesting to somebody out there. That's why I talk about it. That was the most polite DK draft I've ever had. Yeah, people got out of everybody's way, which was nice to see. Let's build Baltimore. Let's get Lamar here at the 3-hole. Lamar's price tag's been coming up, but getting him at the 3-hole, hopefully we'll get Zay on the way back. Kind of think a Lamar team without Zay. I don't know. It's not the most fun version for sure. Definitely can win. Definitely can exist and thrive in the ecosystem. But I would like to have the best parts of teams. So I'm going to try to build them out as my base team. Obviously, because we are going Lamar here at QB, we're going to need a second QB, ideally from the NFC, to drive us. But we will figure that out as we go. And of course, if the Steelers did win, like we just played on DraftKings, they would be facing the Ravens in round 2. And that would very likely not go well for the Steelers, would be my guess. But if you're drafting a team, you are drafting that outcome like they're making the Super Bowl. And then what's the best way to win it all if that team were to make the Super Bowl? And that is the way for anybody who's looking for one thing to take away from your drafts. Like that's what you should be doing. And that's why too, like some of the drafts that I made, like the brain farts I've had, it's like not great, but also ultimately like we then played a couple outcomes where Cleveland makes the Super Bowl, Houston makes the Super Bowl. So like we're okay. We're going to get Zay right now. I'm not going to risk him not coming on the way back. Do you go Andrews or likely with Lamar? You could do both. Obviously, that's a lot of roster spots, but it just depends what NFC team you get on the way back, I guess. If you have the confidence in them being able to carry the load. Like, I think if you get a Detroit-Baltimore Super Bowl, I think you could just try to play only Detroit guys, like, on your NFC side and just play, like, a 5-5 of, you know, because, like, the Lions have enough positions that can hit at once. I think you can get there. All right. What else can we do? Would like to build NFC. Would like to build a little further down funnel of NFC if we can. Oh, you know what? I think this is actually a good time to do some Philly stuff. Let's try. Oh, here's a good way to bring it full circle. Let's try to build a team like that guy I sniped before. Let's try to build a team like that. See if we can make it work. And I'm not going to try to push Jalen Hurts to the 10th round. I'll tell you that. But I'll try to push him a little. Try to push him around a little bit. Oh, Jalen. That's Jalen. Andrew's value is incredible. Yeah, if he's going to be back in there, be full go. I get it. Veteran Hulko seem to draw in viewers with shorts. They can be clickbaity / noisy, which I know you don't like. Yeah, no, I get it. The thing that I just hate the most about betting content is like that you have to be like, hey, this is it. Like, I'm right. And it's like, fucking, I've been doing this, like, you know, the content part, the playing money part even longer. But the content part I've been doing since 2018. So this is my 6th year, like, doing this on the regular, because I started with Stochastic about 6 years ago. And like the hardest part is that, you know, knowing what we know is that all this stuff is games of probabilities and whatever, all this stuff is likelihoods, whatever. And then you have to go out and go like, this pick is guaranteed to hit. Like this, like the Alex Caruso guy is like, my pick, this is a 100% win. It's like, no, it's more likely than not to win. Maybe it's a coin toss to win. Like that's what I try to say is like, hey, coin toss bets. If you get a bet that according to our probably probabilities at 50%, even 48%, 49, you're getting plus 110 odds on that. You should almost take that bet every time, agnostic of what the bet is, because of the fact that it's basically a 50-50 bet, but they're giving you 10% vig on that bet. Like, you should take those bets. And that's not a fun tweet. That's like what being a profitable bettor is. That's why, like, I was able to chip away and do enough to fund DK best ball for myself last year. So it's just like, it's tough because the content thing is like, this pick, here's 5 bets that are gonna smash. And it's like, I don't fucking know if it's gonna smash. Like, I don't have the confidence in that for sure. I'd like to believe it will. Do we push Jalen Hurts further? We need Jalen Hurts pretty bad for this build. So I'm just going to take Jalen Hurts here. I think we take him in the 5th round. I think we could still get most of the stuff we need and not feel bad about it. But there goes Jalen Hurts for me. Yeah, lock of the day. My lock of the day. Even like my pal Eric Lindquist, like he's got to do Lindy's locks, and it's like he does in the video, like he does like lean or lock or whatever. So he does couched accordingly, but it's like, man, like nothing's a fucking lock. Like it's not a lock that I'm gonna show up here tomorrow and like be a lie, like, or you know, any of us. Like I'm not saying that. I'm not gonna fucking off myself. Don't worry, guys. The point being, don't report the video for self-harm. But like that's the point. Like nothing in life is a lock. Like if you treat it as such, you're gonna fail. And I think that's the part that I hate. And the hardest part for me too is like, again, like the props.cash, the outliers of the world. It's like, I know those products don't help people actively. And I also like know that they're making the most money of the apps in the space. And it's like, so we're now supporting products, and then they can raise additional rounds of funding or whatever and make more products that don't help people because they're made by non-native bettors, people who don't really know the space and don't bet money. Absolutely. And it's like, then those are the products that get funding. But if you try to make a product that is premium and has premium data and like has a reason to exist and add value to the ecosystem, it's like, then you're swimming uphill. And I think that's how I feel with our product. And it's been like it's definitely been a bummer. Taking DeAndre Swift here. Obviously we need to have a running back in round 1. So we're going to go that way. But yeah, like that's the biggest thing. I actually had to reply to the survey for this Betting Startups podcast, which is a fun one if you want to get more in the weeds with this kind of stuff, if you do find it interesting. Basically like a survey of like startup founders and what they're talking about. And I replied and just I gave my usual honest replies and was like, yeah, I think the prize fixation of everything is like really bad for people. The fact that people now think that parlays are plus EV, the fact that people take Devontae Smith unstacked for no reason when they have Rams, Dallas, and Detroit already. It all goes hand in hand. But like, you know, more power to Underdog and Prize Picks or whatever. Like, I think you can be profitable over the course of time with pick'ems and whatever, but it's not like plus EV. It's like, it's going to lose you money if you're not doing it intelligently. And I think that's the part that bums me out, because I want people, I did this daily to help people win money. Like, that's what is fun for me. Seeing your guys have success in best ball is what helped me feel not bad about me not having the success I wanted this year in best ball. So that the fact that it's like an industry now that just wants to keep ripping money from you. And like, again, the iCasinos are like the biggest conversion funnel money for anybody out there now. So you're going to see a lot more promotion of iCasinos. And even probably at some point, we might have to do it just because like you got to make your money, I guess. But it's like, that's what they're pushing towards, because they make even more money off of everybody. I don't like, it just bums me out, because I think you can have people be smart, and you can have books that take this action too and don't limit everyone. And I think that's the thing that, but we're trying to do the best we can to fix, but it's like, it is like skiing uphill. So if you have the ability to support, probably please do. Cause, this is me being real with you guys. Like, I do this for very clear reasons. I'm not one of the altruist ones. Like, I want to make money off of it, but I also like, I give you my fucking real shit. I give you my data. I show you my process. Like, I try to spell it out as simply as possible. Like, this is the guys at OddsJam, the Alex Monahan, who you see everywhere. Like, their process is the same as ours. I think our probability data is a little bit better, but we use them as our data partner because they do a great job. Like, there are sites that will help you win money, and then there's ones that won't. And I think it's a tough time right now that people are not sure which is which. But hey, that's me soapboxing. But when people though, you're like, oh man, like I like Sal. I've talked about it on here. I think he's a great guy. Definitely a little lost in the sauce sometimes, the YouTube stuff. But like, I think that I don't know. Like, it bums me out that like he's got to market his shit like that, because I don't think that's good. I don't think it's good for people. But I'll just keep doing what I do, and you hope you win over and win out over the course of time. Justice Hill is added to the squad. And this honestly might be a Gainwell Swift team, because I do just need to get points at running back. I also need to get points at wide receiver because I have gotten sniped on Devontae Smith, and also Dallas Goedert got sniped on 2 Eagles by teams that did not need the Eagles. This guy's got Niners, Detroit, and Philly. This guy's got Dallas, Detroit, Rams, and Philly, and Tampa Bay. So we got... thank God I've had talking about the betting industry to distract myself, because I've been getting sodomized over the course of this video. And now I'm gonna have to take Quez Watkins and Julio Jones. Quez had the good game last week. It's all Prize Picks' fault. These guys think this is a good draft. They think they're building a Prize Pick slip on here, and they're just taking random plays without correlation, and they hurt me. They end up hurting me. These guys take so much risk with guaranteed on the FTC. Yes and no. The one thing I've learned from Football Outsiders, non-payment of us. Obviously, they were also a Canadian company, or the parent company was Canadian. You can't. It's so hard to punish people for shit, and the people who get punished are like, you committed tax fraud, or you're like so big that it's like ubiquitous. You're like, the Binance guys or whatever, the fucking Sam Bankwell-Fried. I forget his fucking name. But you're one of those guys, like, yeah, then they'll come after you. But if you're just like a person who doesn't disclose shit and misleads people a little bit with your promotion, that's been what sports betting promotion has been since the 70s and 80s. It's like the Stu Feiner guys from Barstool, like he was doing that hotline shit. So that's the industry we live in. You hope you can change it. Probably can't. All right, we have enough guys theoretically for the wild card round, but would need Philly. No, we need another Philly. We need to get another Philly. This is going to be too thin. We need Julio. Or wait, is Gainwell still around? Gainwell or Julio? Gainwell or Julio? I'm going to go Gainwell. Panic there. But again, I think there are worlds where Gainwell gets more production in the playoffs. He has been trusted in the playoffs before. So our final team, Lamar and Jalen Hurts, Gus Edwards, DeAndre Swift, Justice Hill, Kenneth Gainwell, Zay Flowers, AJ Brown, Isaiah Likely, Quez Watkins. So we need a big game from AJ Brown and Quez Watkins, or at least AJ Brown to carry Quez along. Very narrow, but we got sniped on Dallas Goedert, got sniped on Devontae Smith. It's how we're going to limply go out here on stream. Do appreciate all of you guys hanging out with me. Yeah, 4 running back draft. Is that the way I want to go out here? We got 69 viewers. All right, fuck it. I'm going in with one more. I don't give a shit. The rewatchability here is going down the longer we get, but I can't go out like that. I'm not a coward. I go out on my shield, on my sword here every day on stream, and I'm not leaving it. So join me in this Mitten 4 draft or perish. Or I don't know, or just don't, or just go get lunch. Do whatever you want to do. That was, yeah, it's true. It was a nice number of viewers. 69 viewers had to do it. Now we're down to 66 though, so we're just sucking our own dick at 66. That's of course what a classic 66 is when you roll yourself backwards and put your penis in your mouth. All the new viewers always love coming into that. I feel like these playoff best ball drafts require volume. They do. I mean, anything in best ball requires volume. And don't let people tell you otherwise. You can have success in your 1-10 entries, whatever. But like it's harder. It's like putting 1 to 10 entries in the Millie Maker. Same thing. Just gotta accept that as what it is. But again, it's all a game of probability. So you decrease your chance from 10% to 1%. It's still a long shot no matter what. So it's what you got to do. It's how we got to view it. While we let this clock tick down, of course, guys, please do subscribe down below. Of course, Splash Play on the March. It's a 4K subs, a 5K subs, a 10K subs. And I show up and do the work because I love it. And also because I care. You know, you don't get people talking from their heart, I guess, about how much they care about an industry. That just hurts people. But please do subscribe here because that's always going to be what I do as long as I can keep doing it. It's the fun. It's the fun of it all. Oh, I think I hear a toddler running around upstairs when it should be his nap time. So that's probably not a great sign for the day. Mother-in-law is here today to watch Luca in-house because we only do 4 days a week of daycare. All right. On the clock here. Can do our old standby, the Buffalo Bills. Could do one more Detroit, Miami for old time's sake. Could do something with, oh, you know what? Let's go. All right, let's really try to do Houston, San Francisco. The coronation of one CJ Stroud. Let's try to do it today. CJ Stroud. Wow. Honestly, that would be the sickest like football year. That would be like my platonic ideal football would be if CJ Stroud somehow makes the Super Bowl and then beats the Niners in the Super Bowl with just the sheer grit of him being a downfield passing QB. Oh, I'm talking myself into this narrative for sure. This would be a delight. Miami Rams. You guys love D. Owens loves the Rams. You all love the Rams. I'm not Rammy. I'm not Rammy like that. Could be a short-sighted thing by me. I probably should get some Rams, but no. I'm gonna do Niners. Like the Niners are the team. Very high odds to get there. We've talked about that enough times. Very high odds to win the Super Bowl. Very high odds to be in the Super Bowl. But we can also just build. Hey, let's get Niners as our chalk, and then we're getting weird by saying CJ Stroud goes on the run of runs, the most fun playoffs in NFL history. That's how it gets there. Let's see. Bevel, GB, GD, whatever in the first hole. Going to take Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle, Patrick Mahomes. A surprisingly chalky. I feel like there's a lot of Niners KC floating around on there on both sites, which is a very plausible Super Bowl outcome, but it's definitely one that I've seen well represented, well duplicated over the course of time. All right, KC has been claimed. And we could still get Tyreek here. Tyreek at 17. I can't not do this as well. Let's try to build enough for Miami and for Houston to get into a Super Bowl with the Niners. If Houston advances, they wouldn't face Miami until the AFC title game, no matter what. So I think this works. My new thing is St. Brown Diggs at the 106. You know, it's funny. I feel like I've not gotten a lot of Buffalo Detroit, even though I do like Buffalo and Detroit independently of each other. So that's interesting. That's a good call. Could be a good call. All right, what are we going to do for the second pick here? We're taking Miami. Really, I think I got to reach for Mostert to make sure that we keep Miami at bay. You know, let's get Mostert now. All right. Yeah, well, then we'll push. It's very tempting. I like Travis Kelce falling a little too. Kind of interesting. But Tyreek, 6 picks after ADP. The Chiefs are going to win this game. Like, I know that's the outcome that's most likely to happen. But, man, I really want Miami to make a run here. It is indeed a Mitten 4. Mitten 4. Could just build Miami and 49ers. That's true. Could do that. But I want to get like a nice Stroud team. I guess we got one with Cleveland. So we got somebody will advance out of that and do it. But this wasn't my favorite way to draft. I drafted that way because I had a brain fart again. Given that defense wins championships, would say that the Rams, Lions, and Eagles are drawing dead. I mean, you could say that about Buffalo too for points of the year. Like a lot of these defenses have had flaws. Even the Chiefs have kind of like, didn't Jake Browning light them up? Like, I feel like there's been flaws for for all these guys for the most part. Besides the Niners, who got hit the trade deadline, made their moves, were definitely a much better team past that, and the Ravens. I think a little more opportunistic in terms of the takeaways and all that, but still a team that just keeps putting everybody down. Those are really the only two defenses I fear. The Cowboys, good, but I think all the injuries kind of caught up with them, where they're not as elite as they were last year, where I think they and the Eagles and the Niners were like three like top defenses where they were all pretty much 1-to-1. This year, it's like the Niners are a tier above, and obviously Philly's gotten substantially worse with everything they do. All right, we got Miami going. Could also keep, I guess I can't keep getting Niner stuff. There's not a single Niner we really want at this point. So let's keep building Miami for now. Gotta leave. Might have to take Stroud next, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. No, you know what? I think we can survive with this. Let's get Waddle in here with our next pick. Hopefully, I can't see any reason why this guy would snipe Waddle away, so I'm just going to put him in the queue. And then we're going to get Houston after this. But had to reach down because Nico's coming up fast. You can make the case, actually, that I should take Nico here just to plant a flag for Houston and not let anybody get cute. I'm going to take Nico. I think that's the safer move here. If Waddle falls, we'll get him on the way back. We don't technically need Waddle right now. Because we'd be able to field a roster. Yeah, we would field a roster right now for Miami, San Francisco. So let's punt Waddle back and hope we get him a little bit cheaper. How is DK limiting plus EV better? It was about a year ago, got limited quick. So I haven't gotten limited, but I've been a winning better on there, so I'm not sure. For me, I always bet the same unit size. Obviously not the same unit size like over time. Like I was in the past betting $100 units, currently doing $20 units. Just because I'm trying to get more action down with probably because the volume that we put with probably data is like the main thing. So basically, I would say that I think if you're not betting weird numbers and you're also not getting a ton of CLV every single bet. Okay, there goes Waddle to this guy. Took him for really no reason. He's got Kansas City, took Waddle. All right. Great move. Won't get Waddle now. The point being, like, I don't know. I haven't experienced it being limited myself, but I have heard people getting limited very quickly. So your mileage may vary. I also play so much DFS that maybe I don't get limited. I don't know. Because DFS, even though I've been profitable, I guess I've been. Am I going to get a 1099 this year? I might not get a 1099 because of how that NFL went. Was profitable the last 2 years before that, though, or 3 years before that. I think that maybe that could be a part of the equation, but I don't know. I just only bet round units. I do know another thing too. If you use a Kelly criterion calculator and you don't round off your numbers, that'll get you flagged like pretty fast too. So I don't do either of those things, but I don't know. Maybe you're just not good at CLV. It's possible. Okay. Let's see what we're going to get here. With the Tua, this guy took Tua and Waddle. Why would he do that with Mahomes? Oh, this guy just made me draw dead for no fucking reason. Oh, now we really need Stroud to make the run here. All right, we got enough picks to get the best parts of Houston, but that was so fucking pointless for him, and it just killed my two build-outs. All right, let's get Stroud. We can't risk Stroud fucking going anywhere else at this point. What an asshole. Oh, what an unbelievable asshole. God damn it. Like, this is what you don't do. Again, like, I get why you want to capture the outcome. I get I did it in a draft because I brain farted. This guy didn't brain fart. He went out of his way to take Waddle and Tua when he had the team that they're playing in the wild card round and had a really good stack of the team they're playing in the wild card round. So he's cutting the EV of the team that he built that actually had good logic to it. It's just a terrible, terrible play by that guy that now hurts my team pretty bad. But we'll play for a Miami-Houston AFC title game, and that's at least some logic to it. But goddamn, man. It's okay. The Houston Niners Super Bowl is the one we wanted all along, right? You shouldn't be clueless. He's a red badge. I know that the red badges don't matter because you could have your red badge from any sport. You could have it from regular best ball and never do a moment of research to understand playoff best ball. But what a catastrophic fucking play, man. Yeah, it's not great. If you get it at a discount or something and you just, and I get it, like, again, like I played this when I made a misclick on stream this very video. So I get it. But it's very frustrating when it happens. When it happens to you that directly. And if you just took Waddle, that'd be stupid. But Waddle and 2 is like doubly stupid because you're going to just lose those 2 roster spots, or you're going to lose your 3 roster spots that have Chiefs like next week. And I don't get it. You're playing in the freezing cold too. Good point. The weather. Obviously, the Vegas totals will account for the weather and all of that, but definitely not optimal conditions, which is probably part of why Tyreek Hill's going at 20 in these drafts, because people think that the Dolphins can't play in the cold. And there is some data, some small sample size data that does support the Dolphins being a little bit less good in the cold, but I don't want to buy in on that. I think that's a little narrow, and the Vegas total is what it is. Like, they're already a dog. We don't need to make them more of a dog. No, we don't hope that. No, we don't want that. Oh, good. Now he's getting some Green Bay too. He's going to be really well covered for not a Dolphins Super Bowl, maybe not even enough for a Chiefs Super Bowl. What a twat. Bringing back twat again. What a twat. Who's the Houston wide receiver 2 at this point? Like, is Noah Brown going to play? Is he back in practice? Doesn't practice again. I think it's got to be Schultz. Schultz feels safer. We know he's going to be out there blocking a good amount. All right, so we got enough here. 2, 3, 4, Purdy, Stroud, Raheem Mostert, Achane, Devin Singletary, Ayuk, Tyreek Hill, Nico, Dalton Schultz. Would have been nicer with Waddle. Would have been nicer with Tua. But we're doing okay. We're surviving. Mania winner got sniped. Take love. Could work out, man. That's fair. I mean, Karain wrote that article up saying that sometimes other people sniping you helps you out because you can get a more unique build that still has correlation involved. So I'm willing to buy into that. And again, my top DK team was one that I got sniped as well, in Deshaun Watson. So I'm also proof of that concept. So I get it. Should we take another Niner here? Let's take another Niners receiver. It might be prudent. I took Juwan Jennings before. I'm taking Ronnie Bell. Just kind of has a nose for the end zone, I feel like. And but is he really going to pass Jennings? No, let's just get unique. Ronnie Bell is it. Final team. Brock Purdy, CJ Stroud, Raheem Mostert, Devon Achane, Devin Singletary, Brandon Ayuk, Tyreek Hill, Nico Collins, Dalton Schultz, Ronnie Bell, and got sniped. That worked out. All right, so there we go. Everybody's getting sniped here. Ray McLeod. Could have gotten more unique with Ray McLeod. Definitely a more narrow outcome. The Ronnie Bell, certainly narrow enough. That is going to be a closer here for best ball. Of course, if you're not familiar with playoff basketball, if you're not registered on Underdog, use that promo code SPLASH, save yourself, or I guess get yourself $100 on a deposit match on there. You also get a mystery pick'em slip with that one, which is a great way to build your bankroll too if you are going to attack the world of pick'ems. Again, they're minus EV, but still fun. And if you know what you're doing, you can win them over time. So check that out for yourself. Of course, again, probably support us here. My quest to help people lose less money, win more money. That's always been what it is about for me. It's what it will continue to be probably through this channel as well for fantasy football. So please go check it out. Probably.com. Use promo code SPLASH. Save yourself 50% on any package. That means all of our pregame data for under $10, all of our live in-game data for under $25. And really, like, you will make money off it. If you were using the product and you're losing and you don't make money off it, tell me, and I'll fucking comp you a month. Like, show me that you're losing, and I'll do it for you. But like, really, like, it'll make a change in your process. It'll make you better. It'll also make you a little bit smarter when you keep seeing the patterns over and over again. why is this a plus EV bet according to the math? Oh yeah, I get it now. Like, and I think that's something too where just do it, man. If you are a sports bettor or want to be one, check it out for yourself. Follow me at Chris Spags. Follow the show at Splash Play Pod. Shout out to all these fine folks who help us put on the show. Get your name on here on the credits, of course, in time for the reading of names tomorrow by hitting that join button down below. And of course, you also get my data, my college data, of course, that I shared yesterday. My wild card weekend data. We'll be putting that up as soon as everything is updated as well. So check that for yourself. This will actually be the last data update I have for all the regular season data because I think this is the last update they do. So get that data if you want by joining down below, $4.99 a month. And of course, it helps support the show. But I appreciate all you guys being here with me. As always, shout out to the chat for making this a fun show. Shout out to you as well for watching and listening to me. I know there's a lot of tangents, a lot of mediocre drafts today, but we made it work. But thanks for riding with me. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Enjoy your days and good luck. Bye.